They never saw it coming. Out on a restless stretch of open water, where radar sweeps normally catch even the faintest blip of incoming trouble, the U.S. Navy carrier group was running through routine defensive drills, confident in layers of technology built to withstand everything from conventional cruise missiles to ballistic threats. But this time was different. This was not a standard approach, not a predictable trajectory. What the systems failed to catch wasn't just another missile. It was a new category of weapon Iran has been quietly perfecting for years. Hyperstealth, low-observable, maneuverable strike systems designed not just to fly fast, but to disappear in plain sight. For decades, aircraft carriers have been floating symbols of American power. Massive, unstoppable, bristling with firepower, they're engineered to survive in hostile zones while projecting force thousands of miles from home. But Iran's strategy has never been about matching that strength head-to-head. Instead, it's been about cracking the foundation underneath. This attack wasn't about flashy explosions or overwhelming numbers. It was about slipstreaming through gaps in the most advanced naval defense network on Earth. The first signs were subtle. Sensors registered scattered anomalies, tiny distortions in expected radar returns, irregular thermal signatures almost indistinguishable from background noise. To a less trained operator, it might have looked like environmental interference or atmospheric clutter. But in truth, something was threading through the outer defense perimeter like a ghost. Iran's latest missile systems don't rely solely on speed or raw impact. They rely on misdirection, deception, and layered stealth design, materials and flight paths engineered specifically to neutralize American carrier defenses. These missiles are believed to operate on a hybrid profile. They travel at hypersonic speeds during certain phases of flight, but don't maintain constant velocity. Instead, they dip, maneuver, and adjust altitude unpredictably, making traditional tracking algorithms struggle to predict their path. They're not just fast, they're erratic. That's the key. Carrier defense systems thrive on pattern recognition, calculating future positions in fractions of a second. Iran's missiles are designed to make those calculations obsolete. What makes them even more dangerous is their low radar cross-section. Unlike older designs that show up on shipborne spy radars as clear threats, these missiles use advanced composite materials and shaping that scatter radar waves instead of reflecting them back. Some analysts believe Iran has incorporated radar-absorbent coatings, possibly inspired by foreign technology or its own experimental research units. The result is a weapon that barely registers until it's already deep inside defensive range. When the carrier group finally realized a true threat was inbound, the warning window had already shrunk dramatically. Defensive systems like close-in weapon systems, interceptor missiles, and electronic jamming were activated. But now they weren't fighting a distant threat. They were reacting to something already collapsing the distance at terrifying speed. The attack wasn't just about missiles. It was a synchronized operation. Cyber and electronic warfare elements came into play almost simultaneously. Jammer systems attempted to interfere with communication lines, briefly disrupting coordination between ships in the strike group. Data links flickered, targeting information updated out of sync. In a modern battlefield, even milliseconds of disruption can mean the difference between interception and impact. This is where Iran's strategy truly stands out. Instead of relying on pure brute force, they create informational chaos. A carrier's strength comes from coordination between radar operators, missile defense, flight deck operations, and command systems. Disrupt that flow, and even the most powerful warship becomes vulnerable. But not all their weapons are purely physical. Some of these missile systems reportedly use multispectral stealth, masking not just radar signatures, but infrared and electromagnetic emissions. Traditional defense works by tracking heat trails, electronic signals, and motion patterns. Iran has worked to reduce or distort all three. Their missiles burn cleaner, cooler, and with less predictable electronic leakage. When interception finally occurred, it wasn't because the system worked perfectly. It was because human operators recognized something felt wrong. That instinct, the awareness that the data no longer fit expected patterns, triggered manual overrides and emergency protocols. Defensive missiles launched not just based on computer predictions, but gut judgment shaped by training and experience. Even so, the margin was thin. Several threats reportedly came within deadly proximity before being neutralized. The attack wasn't meant necessarily to sink the carrier. It was meant to send a message that the myth of invulnerability has cracks, and that Iran is capable of reaching what once felt untouchable. Strategically, this shifts the balance of perception in the region. Carriers have always served not only as military platforms, but as psychological tools. Park one near a volatile coastline, and the signal is clear: overwhelming power is nearby. But if that platform can be credibly targeted, even without catastrophic damage, the psychological equation changes. Deterrence is about belief, and Iran is steadily targeting belief itself. The deeper implication is what this means for modern naval warfare. The age of slow, predictable threats is fading. In its place is a landscape defined by speed, stealth, and information warfare. Even the most advanced networks can be stressed when faced with weapons designed to exploit their blind spots. This doesn't mean carriers are suddenly obsolete, but it does mean they're entering a new phase of vulnerability. The U.S. military is already responding, ramping up research into better sensor fusion, AI-driven tracking, quantum radar concepts, and more adaptive defense systems. Future carrier groups will depend even more heavily on layered drones, autonomous countermeasures, and distributed detection. Iran understands it doesn't need naval dominance to change the game. It just needs to make dominance question itself. There's also the geopolitical subtext. Iran has long operated under heavy sanctions, limited resources, and constant external pressure. And yet, in areas like missile technology, it has focused intensely on asymmetric innovation. Instead of building fleets to rival Western navies, it has built tools to challenge them indirectly. Cheap versus expensive, agile versus massive, elusive versus overwhelming. This attack, real or speculative, fits into that doctrine perfectly. Even if nothing was physically destroyed, the act of forcing a carrier group into full defensive posture sends a signal across military and political circles. It forces reassessment, resource allocation, new doctrines, new budgets, new priorities. And that's exactly what such a move is intended to do. Because modern warfare isn't only about explosions. It's about disruption. It's about forcing your opponent to spend more, adapt more, fear more. Every time a carrier is forced to question its own safety margin, the global chessboard shifts slightly. From a technological perspective, this also reveals the new arms race happening quietly behind the scenes. Hypersonics, stealth materials, AI guidance systems, electronic warfare integration. These aren't futuristic theories anymore. They're here, being tested, refined, and integrated into real strategies. Iran isn't alone in pursuing them. Major powers are rushing into similar territories. But what makes this development significant is who's catching up and how fast. When nations historically boxed in by limitations start developing weapons that challenge superpowers, it reveals a world drifting toward technological parity through unconventional channels. The U.S. Navy knows this. It's why training scenarios are increasingly built around low-visibility threats, multi-domain disruptions, and near-instant reaction environments. The ocean is no longer a buffer. It's a battleground of invisible signals, layered networks, and fleeting detection windows. And in such a battlefield, speed is only one side of power. The other side is perception. If your enemy believes you can hit them, that belief changes everything. Iran understands that deeply, which is why this type of operation isn't about today's confrontation. It's about rewriting the assumptions of tomorrow. It's about saying, your strongest symbol is not untouchable. Your most advanced system has vulnerabilities. Your confidence is a target. And that message resonates far beyond one carrier group. It echoes through military planning rooms, political chambers, and strategic briefings around the world. Because once a symbol of invincibility is challenged, even slightly, the world starts rethinking what power actually means.